We are so privileged today to have with us a very important guest. That is Stephen Copeland on my left. And Steve is very important in his responsibilities as well as one of the key members of another nonprofit organization. And we also invited him here not only for his nonprofit experience, but also because he is an appreciator of Indian music, particularly Indian classical vocal music, although other aspects as well. And he recently attended a concert by Sandeep Bhattacharjee which was sponsored by Rag Music. And we asked Steve to talk about the mission and his interest in an organization that we have recently established called Swar Darbar, the door to fantastic, real Indian music. So we're going to be bringing artists, we're going to be presenting artists who are of the Indian tradition, Indian classical music, and bringing them to the West, to New York, to the United States, and perhaps in the near future also internationally. There are so many great artists in India, as Steve knows, that have not been presented, that have extraordinary talents, and we want to share those talents and the culture of India specifically with the United States in these times where such sacred music, which is indeed what most Indian music is so important in our culture and society. So Steve, maybe you could talk a little about what your experience was attending the concert and also how you feel about the mission of Swar Darbar.
First of all, it was a great privilege to hear Sandeepji sing, and it was my first time seeing him perform. It was beautiful. It was powerful, emotionally moving music, and that's rare to be able to hear that in New York City.
Indeed.
One of the reasons I came to New York City is because I wanted to have the choice to hear many different cultures, music from many different places, and it's a critically important part of hearing music in New York City.
And what was your experience in general with that? Do you think that would apply to all Indian music that you've heard? Or specifically, did you notice anything different about Sandeepji's performance that you could talk about?
First of all, I found it to be a very moving experience. Not all music is quite that moving, but it's something that I believe many more people would appreciate doing in New York City if they could.
And we look forward to bringing all of the cultural arts of India as time rolls forward and exposing them to the United States, to the new audiences, if you will, young people as well who haven't had the chance to have the experience, as well as what we call very seasoned ears who enjoy listening to music of this type, and expanding many, many times over the wonderful experiences people can have in listening to the music presented by Swar Darbar and the other arts that we will be bringing as time moves forward. Visual arts as well, and other cultural aspects that we want to present and also to preserve. How do you feel about what this will do for the United States and the mission we have in general? Could you speak to that a bit?
I think especially in this time of a great deal of political unrest, especially here in the United States, and a climate of intolerance and hatred, that the more you're exposed to other cultures, the more you are able to live together in society as many different people from many different places.
India is really a blended society. There are so many cultures within it. We won't even go into their names, but so many who have blended together and live together and in peace and harmony. And it's a model, I think, in many ways for the United States in these times that we could adapt and take inspiration from, if you will. One of the missions that Swar Darbar will be continuing is offering training to children, to youth, in the arts, in the classical arts of India, the musical arts, the visual arts ultimately. And we will also be doing charitable work, such as offering these to young children so that they have some base understanding at a very early age of what can be done, the options that they have in life that are not necessarily limited to what they've learned in school, which is fine education, but the classical arts in general and what is open to them as a wonderful experience. And some of them, not all, but a few might even move forward in that direction and take instruction and become artists on their own someday. So we hope to be able to at least touch them with something that is outside of their general milieu, if you will. And we think this is a great mission. We think it should be supported and presented everywhere we can possibly reach out and share this information and knowledge and sacred knowledge with. Do you have any suggestions on that or comments that you'd like to make about our upcoming work?
I'd love to see all kinds of art presented. Music, literary, poetic, any kind of performance art that will help share Indian culture to as many people as possible, so that an appreciation can be had and grown the more it's offered.
Well, you mentioned literary arts, and I find that very interesting because Rabindranath Tagore was one of the great presence of India and specifically of Bengali work. So there's an inspiration there that has carried through to the generations today, and we hope to carry part of that here as well to the United States and present it. So I greatly appreciate your joining us this evening and your support and endorsement of Swardarbar. And would you have any final comments or suggestions for us?
I'm anxious to see everything you can bring from India here in the United States.
You're so kind. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.